Hello everyone, in this video we will be sharing our thoughts on an upcoming IPO which is Ocean Fresh. So just to start with some details, the IPO price will be 28 cents per share, which gives them the number of shares around 210 million odd number of shares. Market cap will be close to 60 million ringgit, 58.84. The earnings for 2023 is close to 7 million ringgit, and everything add together roughly gives you a price to earnings ratio of 8.5 times, give or take. On your right, we have the timeline. So they issued their prospectus on the 12th of June. The closing date will be the 20th. So just a couple of days after you see this video. So chop if you want to hop onto it. And then, of course, the balloting and the allotment and the listing date, as you can see, 4th of July, right? That will be when it is. So before we move on, just to let you know, we are working with Moomoo. We are letting you know that they have recently launched their IPO services. So you can actually subscribe IPOs through Moomoo. The full step-by-step will show you right at the end of the video. So stay all the way until the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some of the business. Now, what do they do? In essence, they are involved in the processing and trading of seafood. So if you can see here, the value chain, you have on the left side, you have procurement, which is just fishing and presumably all the fishermen, people rearing the fish or raising the fish in aquaculture, farming, etc., etc. So then they'll pass all the raw seafood and all that to the processor, which is Ocean Fresh. And then they will process it. So what does process mean? Well, you can see defrosting, cleaning, cutting, freezing, and all that stuff. After that, they will give it to the distributors, and then the distributors of yours will give it to people like you and me, right? Restaurants. Okay, so that's the value chain.
Yeah.
So we go on. So
Yeah.
Jonathan, maybe share with us roughly how all this works.
Yeah, very simple business model only. So they source their fishes, like what MJ say, from your fishing enterprise, your wholesaler processing facilities, and they're just a middleman only. They collect the fish, they clean a little bit, defrost it a little bit, then they sell it back. So that's their entire business model actually. They provide another value-added services, which is actually helping these wholesaler to actually freeze their products, and they charge it a service fee for it. And they are currently going IPO because they want to expand their cold storage because they maximize the utilization rate already. Yeah. And the markets that they're covering right now is Malaysia, Turkey, China. China is the biggest market.
And Malaysia is only number 3, so very interesting. We'll show you some of the figures later on.
Yes, correct. And other countries as well. Products, they sell more mollusks, fishes, and also others. So you can see that what.
So for those who don't know what mollusks are, typically they are your shellfish. This would be oysters.
Yeah.
Lalas.
cuttlefish,
things like that.
All those stuff.
And of course, fish is fish, guys. I don't need to tell you what fishes are. And then others would be sea cucumber, prawn, so crustaceans. And abalone and stuff like that.
And if you look at the Sea Planet, that is their brand. So when they actually sell to the retailers, right, they use their own brand. But if let's say the customers want them to actually use their brand, they will use it. So but usually they will sell it under Sea Planet. So this is the revenue by geography.
So number 1 is actually Mr. China, and number 2 is Turkey.
Yes. You can see the number for China is growing the fastest. So from 29.9, it grew to 53. So it's like almost 2 times already. They are one of the few countries that is growing in terms of their sales. And then another one is, I think, Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam also is about 2x, and then the others. And interesting fact is that this company is diluting, the promoters and substantial shareholders diluting their own shares. There's 0 offer for sale, which means they are not really
increasing the number of shares.
They are increasing the number of shares, but they're not selling their stake.
Sorry.
Yes,
the other way around. Yeah.
Yes, correct. So it's an interesting thing. But what's interesting is their competitor, which is PTRB and also SBH Marine. You can check out their offer for sale. So you can see PTRB also don't sell their own shares. They are diluting their own shares. Similar case for Ocean Fresh. But SBH Marine actually did, in fact, sell some of their shares to the market. So they are exiting some positions.
Yeah, and then the SBH, I'm not sure whether it's true, but it's linked to Sabah.
Yes, correct. It is
Right.
linked to Tawa, I think, Sabah.
Yeah.
Tawa. We talk about their differences later.
Yeah, so you can see the difference between Ocean Fresh and PTRB and how they're using the IPO money.
Yes.
Right? I think the big one here would be working capital.
Yes, correct. And the reason why there's a difference is because PTRB have their own retail shops. So they sell their own brands. I think it's called MO outlet. And not only they're doing processing, but they're also doing the downstream side of things. And that is the usage for those two. And SBH Marine, they are quite unique. They actually have to develop their own farm, aquaculture farm, because they are related to the upstream and also the downstream. So upstream is related to the farming that just now we
Yep.
show in the value chain. Downstream is more processing and trading. So this is a quick comparison for these four companies. M&G is also another company that does cultivate and also process. So they are related to
Oh, sorry,
upstream
I
and
mistake.
downstream.
SBH is Perak, not
Yeah,
Sabah.
correct,
the
correct,
mistake. MAG Sabah, SBH is Perak.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. I think because you see the SBH name,
Yeah,
then
that's
it's
like
like
Sabah.
Sabah. Yeah. So you can see that who is in the upstream and downstream sector, and then you can see the location. So interesting, Ocean Fresh and PTRB are in the same state. So maybe they are very close competitors.
Yeah, perhaps.
But yeah. Okay, so the team here, we have four individuals. Xiang Hai Yong, he's the executive director.
He's been there since 13, yeah.
Yeah, and he has been in the seafood business since 13. Very impressive already. And then he also founded his own wholesale business. I think I forgot what's the name, but it's inside the prospectus. And they also do RPT with his business. Basically, they buy fish from him. So yeah, that is Mr. Xiang. And then Ki Wan Chum, who is the HOO. So this one, they have a very unique background. Is she joined first in the company as a very small personnel, and then they go to a marketing exec, slowly climb the way up to GM to head of operations. Very impressive. But when I further read it, I think it's related to Datuk Sri Chia Hui Huang. I think it's one of the family members or whatnot lah. I could be wrong, but do correct me in the comments below. And then Datuk Sri Chia Hui Hua is a substantial shareholder. He also have a seafood trading business, family business, and other substantial shareholders, which is these three individuals over here. Okay, so this is the shareholders and also some of the substantial shareholders that they are using that particular
Very interesting
Berhad to
names.
run.
Treasure Gain, Untung
Yeah,
Besar,
yeah, Untung Besar.
Sierra
Yeah,
Mode.
yeah,
I
correct.
think combined will be slightly over 50%, right?
Yes, correct. So it will be around like 47% or 48% ish.
Yeah.
Almost 50%. But they are keeping all of their shares. Remuneration. So they are not really spending a lot. They're not paying themselves a lot.
Yeah, so if we look, my eyeball shows that it's 600 odd thousand ringgit.
Yes. For
Sales is
2024.
about, profits about
7 million.
7 million. So it's okay.
Yeah, 10%.
We've seen worse, you know.
Correct. 10% of their remuneration. Okay, quick introduction on their industry. So some interesting fact is that I got this information from PTRB's prospectus or IMR report and also Ocean Fresh because they are both almost linked already. You can see that there's two different stats, 2017 and 2021. And the stats shows that the per capita consumption for Asia Pacific is dropping, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, our theory is, and again, we are not sure absolutely, but our theory is because of Japan, right? The recent, because of Fukushima and, the accusation of radiation, right? Remember the last year, was it?
Yeah,
The Prime Minister had to pretend to eat the sashimi, or no, actually ate the sashimi to show the world, like, hey, it's okay. But then, of course, you wonder whether the fish was actually from Japan. But anyways, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I think could be, right? But again, if you guys are expert, let me know.
Yeah.
This one is probably more interesting. I did not know that we are the largest consumers of seafood
in the Asia Pacific.
In Asia Pacific, right? Even though it dropped a little bit since 2017, we are still up there. And later you'll see it's actually even higher than chicken, which is another big surprise. Now, I want to say, to caveat this is that, not necessarily take this information as a pinch of, with a pinch of salt. It could be true, but do note that it is typically the company that hires the market researchers to produce the data, right? And they have the interest to perhaps make the numbers look a bit better. So I do believe we consume a lot of seafood, but whether we're number one, I can reserve judgment. That's fine, because as I said, they have an interest to tell you that Malaysia is a big consumer of seafood. And of course, there are other big markets will be like China, and Turkey is pretty low.
Yes.
But yes, China and Malaysia, these are, 2 out of the 3 biggest markets that they are in.
Yeah.
We dropped, right, from
Top 5 to
from
top 10.
5 to top 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Yes.
And we can see here, right, poultry meat, chicken and all that is actually less than seafood, right? Seafood stands atop, which is very rare because I feel like we eat more chicken than we do seafood.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you go to a mama, you go to a hawker store or whatever, it's always chicken rice or nasi lemak ayam. You can ask, Maggi goreng tambah ayam, things like that. But seafood, rarely.
Yeah.
Have you ever ordered seafood at mama?
No.
Banana leaf rice, maybe you order the sotong, things like that, the squid.
Maybe Sabah is the one that is contributing.
Yeah, could be Sabah or Sarawak. I guess if we eat, let's say a warung, maybe they have fried fish, they have that typical fried fish you can eat. So maybe, that counts.
Yes. And also I think they added a lot of those shellfishes. So
So one explanation could be that part of the weight is the shell, right? So like oyster, the shell is part of the weight, or prawns and lobster is part of the weight. It could be, right? But then you can make the same argument for poultry because they have bones, right, instead of meat. So yeah, but it still surprises me, right, that we eat so much seafood.
Yes. Now some peers and numbers. So I lump everything together. So they're competitors and also Ocean Fresh. So you can see that the most revenue generator is PTRB over here, and then followed by actually none. The other 3 are pretty much similar.
Yeah. So I mean, what we can gather from this is, of course, the sales is bigger because they are in 2 different segments of the market, right? Distribution and upstream as well, or processing upstream.
Processing and also retailers.
Retailers, okay. Yeah. Downstream and midstream.
Yeah, correct. So, but profits wise, PTRB also is high. MAG also is surprisingly, this is very high.
But let's look at the margins. I think that will give us an indication as well.
Yeah. So margins about the same. Actually, you can see Ocean Fresh and PTRB is almost the same. MAG, there's a reason why there's a bump in gross margin is because they bought another subsidiary related to the aqua farm kind of like business.
And they're also based in East Malaysia.
Right? East Malaysia.
So
correct.
We always hear cheap seafood. So maybe
that helped them a little bit. So yeah, SBH, so it's just pretty much similar. Debt, you can see Ocean Fresh is pretty clean. They don't really incur a lot of debt as compared to others.
Long-term debt is MAG, and then short-term is PTRB.
Yeah, PTRB is because they are in the retail space, so they have to use it to finance their working capital. Cash and net debt. So MAG, you can see that they have a huge cash, but a lot of the cash is stuck inside China. They have a fixed deposit account over there. And they did some private placement recently. And one of the questions asked was, why did you raise private placement
so much cash
when you have so much cash?
Yeah,
because
capital controls.
the
in
CEO
China.
say they cannot take out money.
Yeah, it's not easy to take out. So you can see, cannot touch.
Yes, correct. And you notice they also have the most net cash as a result. Cash flow wise, all of their businesses are quite choppy. PTRB is the one that is surprisingly, because before during IPO it was very nice. Then after when they go public, then their operating cash flow start to drop. So this is the most interesting bit over here lah. But generally their free cash flow is very, very lumpy. Returns on invested capital and ROE, you can see the best one running is PTRB and also Ocean Fresh. They are the one that is climbing up a lot. Pretty decent, but in terms of ROE, PTRB is dropping. Ocean Fresh is kind of like similar. Then the weakest one is MAG. All of them are dividend payers other than SBH Marine. You can see that their dividend policy, only PTRB and SBH Marine are paying 20 and 30% of their net profit respectively.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Ocean Fresh will be very interesting if they decide to pay dividend.
Yes, correct. Hopefully they will start paying. Then you kind of like
you
differentiate. You differentiate with them and PTRB. Okay, growth and risk. This one is going to be very simple. Their growth is basically expanding their cold storage space because they have been using 99% of their storage space already. So they need to have a new one. And their new venture is actually they're going to go through this process and trade of dried seafood products, which is said to be lower cost because you don't need to use your cold storage, and also it's less transportation cost Because you don't need to use the cold room or something like that to transport it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
But
a high cost.
the flip side is I think the demand is a lot lower.
Yes.
And the proof is if you can go to convenience stores, you see the dried seafood portion is a small portion. It's not that big.
Exactly.
Whereas I don't know whether this is a good comparison, but let's say if you go to Family Mart or even Siu Mart, you know, the Oden, that's usually right in front, right? But I don't know if you notice this, the dry seafood products are all the way behind.
Oh, okay.
So there's a reason, right? Because it's probably not as high in demand. I eat it, I like it, but
yes. Okay, so the risk is product quality. This is really normal. And also Forex, because 50 and 60% of their purchases are in USD and 70% of their sales also is in USD.
Yeah.
So any fluctuation, it will impact their profits. Okay, valuation for all of these companies can see that the cheapest one over here is PTRB when they list. Probably it's because they are related to the downstream segment, the processing segment. Maybe it's not, the market don't find them attractive. Whereas for MAG and SBH Marine, they are traded at a higher or premium valuation as compared because they have two business segments, the upstream and also downstream. They are integrated. And Ocean Fresh is now trading at 8.47 times PE. Which is slightly on the premium side, although I think that's what they think it is fair lah. But if you are interested in subscribing to Ocean Fresh, you can do now with Moomoo.
Yes.
And we'll show you the step by step. So the first step is, obviously you have to open your Moomoo account. So if you haven't yet, you can check out the link in the description or comments below. Make sure to sign up using our link and start subscribing to Ocean Fresh if you're interested. And this is the step. So step 1, once you downloaded, open your, click on this account tab or icon, and then you go to your universal account, click on more, and then you see this thing called the CDS account IPO, and you want to click that. Now, the second step is, you are in this account, you want to see whether you have this CDS account IPO, just now I mentioned that, you want to click this arrow over here, and you want to click IPO, okay? And then, you want to go back to markets. It's a very complicated process, but please bear with us. Click on markets, and then you want to go to your Malaysian segment. And finally, click on your IPO. And then you can see two companies, which is Johor Plantation and also Ocean Fresh. So if you want to subscribe to Ocean Fresh, make sure to press the subscribe button. And you can actually key in how much you want to buy or subscribe. So you can enter your quantity amount, and you want to review all of the details that is given over there, and you want to click on submit. So whether you can get it or not get it, you can actually see it because they will give you your notification, and you can check it in your history page in this IPO segment. So if it's successful, they'll tell you how many shares you have get allotted. Whereas if you are unsuccessful, they will tell you that no, there's 0 shares that is given. So if you want to subscribe, make sure to check out Moomoo. I think it's very easy to also set up an account. I think it takes like less than 10 minutes or 5 minutes actually. One of our analysts also did register the account. The process is very, very simple.
Yeah, I would say one of the best. And thank God they're here. Amazing.
Yes, they are here to disrupt the Malaysian market. So make sure to check out Moomoo and sign up using our referral link in the description and comments down below. And finally we have reached to the end.
And you know, if you want to learn about whether a particular IPO is, you can say, worth subscribing, or at least you just want to just learn about companies, I think FIRL Pro will suit you, right? We number one, we shortcut your research journey to find potential investment ideas through very short 15-minute reports or less. I always like to say we can finish it in a cup of coffee. Number 2, we have a community of experts where you can ask anyone, right? You have a share in mind that you want answers to, just ask the community. We will give you either we can give you answers, or we will know we can find the answers for you. And number 3, of course, is using our portfolio as a reference for you to build your own personal portfolio, right? One of the biggest fears that people have in the stock market, and you might be one such person, is the fear of getting things wrong, which is very normal. Who likes to get things wrong, right? So what we do is that we create 3 portfolios for you to refer to, where historically the reports and some of the companies we mentioned are 75 to 70% positive. We have 3, FIRL Pro, which is where our best ideas go into it, Catalyst portfolio, where our best short-term ideas, and the boring portfolio is where our best dividend stocks are.
Yeah.
And borrowing portfolio just started only. Our target was to match or even outpace EPF, but it seems at this rate it will do even better. We just started in April, whereas FIRL Pro is August 2022, and then Catalyst is December 2022. So if you want to check it out, you can. If you get a taste of it, you can check out the free sample. But if you want to see the whole thing, you can just sign up for it, make the payment. But if you feel like it's not really for you within 10 days, and 10 days is all you need, because our reports are very short, they're straight to the point, and it's either you like it or you don't like it. And if you don't like it, just send us an email saying, hey, I would like to refund. We will give you the refund, no questions asked. But we will still ask you on some of the feedbacks, right? Like why do you unsubscribe? Because we want to improve, and we hope that you can help us in that journey. Regardless whether or not you sign up for the program, thank you for the support. And I hope this IPO video has really helped you in terms of your investment decision making. See you in the next video.